I've counted 5 leaked videos that were put out throughout this week.
Wow.
We're going to go over them. And a leaked text message, which I'm like, is this a real text?
Oh, I haven't seen any of it. I've seen none of it.
Well, we are going to play all the leaked videos, and we're going to figure out whether Fox really
made a mistake.
Is Fox the one actually? See, we on the outside think that Fox is the one leaking these videos to take them down. But Fox, just today, we have this headline. Fox is like, please. So Media Matters is the one who's been putting this out. And Fox is saying, please, Media Matters, stop leaking videos of Tucker. We want to protect our guy that we just fired.
Yeah, right.
No, they're saying that it's proprietary information, basically the videos from behind the scenes. Fox owns that video, and nobody's allowed to leak it. And so they're asking Media Matters no more. Media Matters is responding saying, if you don't allow us to leak this, you're not real journalists, Fox, because real journalists leak videos.
Oh, sick burn.
Anyway, so let's play the videos, because I'll tell you my reaction to these videos. I want to get your reaction.
Okay.
We're going to start with this one. What's it say there? Oh, Tucker on the powdering of noses.
Can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer. It's personal. I'm not speaking of you, but more in general of ladies. When they go to the ladies' room and powder their noses, is there actually nose powdering going on?
Sometimes.
Ooh. I like the sound of that.
Most of the time it's lipstick.
Do pillow fights ever break out? You don't have to.
Not in the bathroom.
Okay, not in the bathroom. Okay. That'd be more a dorm activity. Okay.
This is naughty precise nurse territory.
I'm sorry. So you are such a good sport, such a good person. Thank you.
I got 2 brothers.
I know you do, but you do not deserve that, and I mean it with great affection.
I got you, man. Which way do you want to go?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Let me tune in.
What? Oh, I don't see. I mean, what? Was there supposed to be anything malicious in that video?
I laughed hysterically.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Apparently it's made to, he's supposed to be a bad guy for making a kind of crude joke, I guess, to his nose powder lady. Which I didn't
catch on what was so crude about it. That's hilarious to me. I mean, genuinely, what type of behavior are people looking or are expecting behind the scenes? You know what I mean? Like, when we talk behind the scenes, it's not the same demeanor as when you are in front of a camera. So I'm not quite sure what people expect.
But I know.
If they're going to go after Tucker for something as little as that, I haven't seen the rest of the video clips, so we'll see. But I remember there was another correspondent, I think it was throughout Trump's presidency, where his behind the scenes got really leaked, and he was like this angry man, and he's like, there's something ringing in his ear, and he was like getting mad. It's like, that to me is crude, and we didn't make a big deal about it. But something like this, not so much.
A lot of people do have this like really rigid little cookie cutter view of TV personality. So if they see that person outside of their cookie cutter at all, it can shake up their view of the person. And whoever's leaking this, I think, is hoping that it shakes up their view of Tucker, because we all act different. I mean, I used to be in that rigid studio setting, anchoring the news, and I would be cracking jokes, some of them somewhat inappropriate.
Yeah.
While I'm getting mic'd up and stuff, just like him. So I think this is a very human thing. But again, I think that TV personalities especially news anchors and politicians are held to this fake standard where they're not allowed to crack the jokes that all the other Americans crack.
Right.
So even the thing where Trump was caught behind the scenes being like, grab her in the pee-pee. And I was getting drinks with this guy who is also a broadcaster. And he was like, I could never you know, being a father of a daughter, I could never have that person as my president. I was like, you, sir, crack the exact same jokes, but it's okay for you to do it in your off-air time. And
Right, exactly. People are such hypocrites. Like they really do make these rigid expectations, these rigid stipulations for personalities. And it's actually funny because, you know, my friends were talking about this on their podcast. And it's funny because if you're anybody who looks anything above average, like that's where people just really go in on you, whether you are like a media personality or just a personality online, like you're a Twitter personality, whatever. It's just crazy because it's like we really are like natural human beings behind the scenes. Like we have the same fears, the same griefs, and we eat and poop the same way as everybody else, right? So it's like, you know, it's really funny that people have different expectations for the personalities.
I agree. Okay, let's look at the next one. He talks about sex in this one. Here we go.
Everyone in this company is thrilled that you're doing this. I've gotten more calls from people about it.
Oh, that's great. Well, I got to say, when I came to New York a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't believe how welcoming and friendly everybody was. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, they really mean it from the owners on down.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to see it. I like that. It's a good, you know, people are nice in this company, I think. They've always been nice to me anyway.
I completely agree. Everyone's been very, very friendly and very nice, and I really appreciate it. But thank you so much for coming on. It's fantastic.
I bet that doesn't change. Of course.
Yeah. It's just great to have you on my show. I mean, I've been on yours enough times. It's great.
I think it's totally cool. So let's, if we're going to talk about sex, I'd love to hit some of the fine points of technique. But, you know, but it's your show. It's totally up to you.
We can certainly talk about your sexual technique, especially after your tanning testicles last week.
Not mine. We'll speak in more general terms, but I've got something to add.
What's so bad about that? That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness. But he has a very conservative audience. And so some
conservatives don't have sex. Like,
you know, they don't really, and they never see naked body parts. Like, I'm probably going to lose a couple conservative audience members because of my strapless outfit.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm just saying whenever I post a bikini pic on Instagram, I lose at least 1,000 followers. It's true. Because I have a lot of conservatives, and conservatives are very sensitive about anything sexual.
Conservatives need to grow up, honestly. Like, this is why we lose the culture war. Honestly, this is why we lose the culture war. It's so funny because the same friends I was talking about with their podcast, they literally did a stream yesterday where they wore burqas. And I know that's really offensive, but because like we're finding this new wave of like conservative audience where just, you know, years ago you would hear like MAGA women or, you know, conservative women are like the best looking or like they're much prettier than the leftists, blah, blah, blah. That was like years ago. And now it's like everybody poops on everybody else because, you know, once again, if they do anything outside the realms of what a rigid view of what a conservative is supposed to act like, it's like people throw rocks, they throw stones at these people. It's just, it's insane. But this is precisely why we lose the culture war, because we act as if we're like holier than thou when we're all just human beings behind the scenes.
Totally. I think so. So I'm not a conservative, I'm just a freedom-loving American, which a lot of conservatives used to be pro-freedom first, and now that's less and less.
Yeah.
It's about let's snatch this person's liberty, that person's liberty. We're not, you're not. You know, that's just my take as an independent, free person. Anyway, so I can see how some conservatives would be off-put by Tucker talking about sex to that guy. Plus, it's like he's acting weird in that. It's like, is he high or something? You know, his response is delayed and stuff. What's happening, guys, is someone is talking in his ear. It's very clear, as someone who's gone through this many times at an anchor desk, he's got like the producer and director talking to him like, okay, we got this much time. We're going to do this first. And he's listening to that while chit-chatting with his guest.
Mm-hmm.
And then he randomly throws in this comment about
these random
sex, which I'm like, did the director say something about it?
What I love is that Tucker is like in the mode, like you can see him like fumbling through his papers and like he's trying to, organize and all these things. And he's like spitting these really funny things out. And like, whilst him in the mode and like him doing his Tucker Carlson things to make his Tucker Carlson show the way it is. And it's like, we can't have grace on the guy for like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that most anchors have extremely similar bloopers to what we're all seeing here. They're not even bloopers. It's just the behind the scenes of setting up for a show. And I used to act very similar when I was setting up for a show too, going through all my scripts, cracking jokes nonstop.
Right.
It's just like you get into this little zen, where this goofy zen before you do the show.
Yeah,
that was me, and apparently that's Tucker too.
That's insane.
We got some comments. We have some super chats. Thank you for the super chats. 200 Watt Studio says, "Hail, Ivory."
Hail.
I don't know. Is that like a German sort of thing?
Like hail, like hail is like royal honor or something.
Toby says Tucker rules, Don Lemon drools.
True stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, I think that Don Lemon was let go the same day just for CNN to just like kind of put that under the rug. Mm-hmm. They knew that Tucker would make the headlines, not Don Lemon. So because nobody watches Don, okay? And CNN just didn't want any more bad news. No one is bothered by these comments. What conservatives have you seen that are bothered by this? I just know that after my story went viral with Project Veritas has a huge, very conservative audience. And so I ended up inheriting a ton of Project Veritas's audience. So now I have hundreds of thousands of people in my comments, most of whom are very conservative. And I can say that any talk of sex, any visibility of skin, they're very sensitive. My conservative audience is incredibly sensitive, and a bunch of them have already unfollowed me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm just going to continue to be me.
Yeah.
And if I lose a ton of conservatives, so be it. But it's just interesting that those people.
Well, and you're not far off because, like you said, there are, believe it or not, I'm more in the Twitterverse more often than I was in the past. And so I have a lot more observations. But you see personalities like in the the Meninists, the Manoverse, the men who like want to be this traditionalist and not things like that. But they kind of color outside the lines, and it's like they're ultra like creating these outliers and guidelines for how they want women to kind of behave, I guess, or like how they want them to appear. And like, for instance, just the other day, and I'm not trying to pick on this person, but I'm just saying this is just an example. Elijah Schaefer from Slightly Offensive.
He's been on Truth Bombs.
Made this comment that, why do women wear yoga pants? Is it that they're, this and that? And it's like, are we really going this far where we're complaining about yoga pants now? You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Like, we're really going to go out there.
If you wear yoga pants, then you're craving, you're soliciting sex.
You're soliciting things.
My ex said that if I showed my stomach at all, I was broadcasting a loud, unspoken message that I want every man to have sex with me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, excuse me?
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess
Never
that's
heard of
goodbye.
that. Yeah.
And literally, actually, the same day I walked out and he blew up my phone saying I was joking, and
of
so
course
I stuck with him a little longer. But then we just broke up after that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to date a radical right winger.
That's pretty radical. Okay,
I'm radical in that I'm radically free.
And really, it's a lot of legalism, like people creating these stipulations and rules and regulations and blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's like, yo, like, this is too much. Like, you are creating these rules for chicks. Like, now you're not supposed to show cleavage. You're not supposed to wear so much makeup. You're not supposed to wear your yoga pants. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, this is like, and I could see where people were just like, okay, like, fine. If those are the stipulations, we're just gonna drop out, like, if that's what it is. So I can see where people get sick of it.
Right.
You know?
It's interesting times
Yeah.
for so-called conservatives. Here we go. Max says there's a group of conservatives that get mad if you use God's name in vain, and they also hate cursing. I do that a lot. Exactly. When I first posted my boyfriend on Instagram, my caption was, "Oh my God, you're something," which is a George Strait line. And I got a lot of hate for that because I used the word God in vain.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
So that's my conservative audience. I'm just about freedom. Conservatives can come along for the freedom.
Sunny Break says Sharia law. No, seriously, that's what some conservative, like literally, that's what some conservative men want. Like, you want us in a burqa or what? Like, we can't be like natural women. Like, you know, we've got cleavage, we got these things. Like, it's gonna, you know.
Who's that dude in his early 20s who's a right-wing he's censored everywhere, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Nick Fuentes.
So he was at the he was banned from the CPAC that I was at, where I got banned for my speech there. So he and I have something in common there. I think that's the only thing we have in common. He gave a speech at that CPAC in 2021 saying that women, like he said, we just need to go back to the 1950s. I wish we could. And I thought, well, the 1950s were quite a nice time. And actually men were real men back then. So you first, Nick, you got to be the provider in order for, if you want the wife who cooks in the kitchen, because I love to cook, 100%. But you got to be the provider.
100%.
You got to be a real man, just like the 50s.
It's like,
so you first men, and we would love some 1950 vibes.
To that point, men are supposed to lead. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't just shove these women in a box and say, do the trad wife thing, do the trad girl thing, or whatever. And then you guys are being like absolute, like, and I hate to use this word, but not a lot of, not all men are doing this, but I'm saying like there is a new wave culture where like the Andrew Tate followers, and I'm not even, you know, attributing it to him, but they take these aspects from these influencers and they try to apply it to all women. And it's like, you can't be like that. Like people had a big reaction about, you know, Steven Crowder's divorce video, right? Like the whole ring cam video.
I didn't even see it. I hate drama.
And that's the thing too, like, you know, but what I got out of that video is like, you can't treat your wife like that. Although I was very fair in my viewpoints about that whole thing. But you can't treat a woman like that and then expect her to be this traditional role type of thing. You got to like, there's like a balance there. You got to do one or the other. You got to do one thing and then the other person does the other thing. So, you know, men really should, I think, you know, be a 50-50 if you want to lead women to be the trad. Like, yeah, that's cool, but you got to lead at one point.
Like a truly manly man, in my opinion, being around his aura sends you as a woman into your feminine nature. Like, I want to cook for him. I want to cater to him. But the man has to be a man first.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right, we got on a little tangent, guys. We have 3 more Tucker leaks, which whoever's leaking this thinks it's the downfall of Tucker, but this is the most mild, hysterical, endearing. I think he might even gain fans.
They make Tucker look good.
Okay, leak number 3, Tucker on someone's yummy girlfriend.
You wouldn't? Okay, I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy. Just kidding, in case this is being pulled off the bird. Yeah, the bird. Hey, media matters for America. Go fuck yourself. That's the first thing I want to say tonight. Second thing is, totally kidding, I don't even know what his girlfriend looks like. And if I did, I would not find her yummy.
All right, he made a joke about someone's girlfriend being yummy. But I'm just saying, I honestly relate to all of these little clips. I can remember a time when I was behind the scenes, like getting ready for my show, saying similar stuff. And you know the camera is on you and they're taking your feed to like check your mic and stuff. So you know that there's a huge chance this is being recorded. Oftentimes it is. And and so you say like a politically incorrect joke, and then you immediately stop yourself like, just kidding. I've done the exact same thing. So it was really funny seeing Tucker do that. But he thought someone's girlfriend was yummy. Then he said, no, I don't. But
all of this is going to be a meme one day. Tucker throwing up two birds like that's going to be a meme. That's totally memeable.
Okay, the next one. Tucker on this one on his postmenopausal fans. You can't hate on your female audience now, Tucker. Now this one might lose him some viewers. Here it is.
Feel great. You know, I can never assess my appearance. I wait for my postmenopausal fans to weigh in on that. My IFB. What? They want to control me from afar? Okay, I'm putting the leash on. You can... Fuck it, we'll do it live! I got you, baby.
He's so funny. He reminds me of like the epitome of the movie Anchorman. That's what he reminds me of. These are just like what is his name? Steve Carell type of takes. Like
the actor from Anchorman.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's what's his name? Will Ferrell.
Steve Carell's in there too. Yeah.
Okay.
He reminds me of Steve Carell, but yeah, he's kind of like a hybrid between Will Ferrell and Steve Carell a little bit.
Oh my gosh, he leaves his looks up to the his postmenopausal audience. If they like him or not, he'll hear from them in the comments.
I think he's hilarious.
And he calls his IFB the earpiece where
leash.
he hears his producer and director. Yeah, that's the leash. Or they shout at him, "Censor yourself."
I mean, was he wrong?
No, it's totally accurate. So, and the funny, when I called Fox out live on air, to my shock, there was nothing in my ear. I assumed in my ear they'd be like, "Ivory, stop! What are you doing?"
Yeah.
It was silence.
They were in shock as you were doing it. Their jaws were on the floor when you did that.
Oh my
so they
gosh.
couldn't tell you anything.
So the leash didn't work in that case.
Right.
All right, let's look at the last leak of Tucker that they have here. Media Matters leaking all these. Here it is.
Fox Nation, which I don't think that many people watch anyway. We're gonna because I'm like a representative of the American media now. Speaking to an exile in Romania and welcoming him back into the Brotherhood of Journalists.
Yeah, it would help us out if you wore a sweater though, because we asked him not to wear a suit. Like he was panicking about it, so you don't have to. Tucker's gonna be looking casual. That's how our show looks. Is that okay?
I mean, this is airing on the nighttime show, and I want it to look official. I don't want it to be like bro talk. And I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the majority of it, like if we go like 45 minutes, it's going to be for Fox Nation.
But nobody's going to watch it on Fox Nation. Nobody watches Fox Nation because the site sucks. So I'd really like to just dump the whole thing on YouTube. But anyway, that's just my view. I'm just frustrated with it's hard to use that site. I don't know why they're not fixing it. It's driving me insane. And they're like making like Lifetime movies, but they don't work on the infrastructure of the site. Like what? It's crazy, and it drives me crazy because it's like we're doing all this extra work and no one can find it. It's unbelievable, actually. I don't know who runs that site.
We're going to play a sizable chunk on the show tomorrow night. That's the plan. And then what it's going to do is drive a lot of people to watch this on Fox Nation. It's going to be a great help to what we're doing over there on TV today.
I know, but we're doing our part. We're like working like animals to produce all this content, and the people in charge of it, whoever that guy's, whatever his name is, like they're ignoring the fact that the site doesn't work. And I think it's like a betrayal of our efforts. That's how I feel. So of course I resent it.
Yeah. Okay. So my reaction to that is that soundbite right there makes me think Fox is not the source of the leak, because I mean, the boss is at Fox. Mm-hmm. I think there's someone lower down. Obviously it's a Fox person leaking this. They're the ones who it's someone in the control room who has access to behind the scenes footage. Maybe it's one of the video editors, but the fact that, that much video is of Fox Nation being trash talked Fox's paywall streaming site. That clip was not a good look for Fox Corp. And so I think, why would Fox Corp release that to mainly bash themselves? Because that clip not so much made Tucker look bad, it made Fox Nation look bad. He's saying we put in big effort on important content and the Fox Nation website doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely think that maybe it's somebody going out of Fox, or, you know, maybe the overlords might have made the leaker mad as well. But I agree with you. I don't think it couldn't have been like the executives or the overlords of Fox. I think it had to be somebody lower, maybe in the production room.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, we got some comments. I heard someone was mad about our comments on men. Oh, we got this. Brewmaster Monk said, Fox fired Tucker because his show appeals to a broad right-wing audience and synced everyone up. Now everyone will fall into information silos. Networking and activism will be even harder. I heard that it also may have to do with lawsuits coming out as well. See, I think that, you know, Fox, who knows about Fox's role in controlling access to information? But I know that they are, you know, they faced a lot of lawsuits. And to this day, you know, I questioned for months after what Fox did to me, I questioned why they wanted to control access to information, what I was reporting. And it may just have to do with lawsuits, or maybe is the White House secretly threatening them or bribing them? I don't know, but there's word that a lawsuit was incoming from Ray Epps if Fox did not let Tucker go, that Ray Epps would have a giant lawsuit. Because, you know, Tucker loved to talk about Ray Epps and January 6th and the feds. Right. So that could be as well. Okay, we had some comment in regards to our view on men that we're talking. Okay. Astrochronic says, you know, you're just inconsiderate of the fact that every man will want to have sex with you, that you're showing off your sexual attributes, not that you want them all to have sex with you. We're inconsiderate of the fact that we turn men on. As considerate women, we need to cover ourselves so that men are not attracted to us. You know, in the early 1900s, 1901, 1902, women had to be careful about showing their ankles because it would excite men. They would be turned on. Yeah. And how dare women show their ankles to turn men on? I guess we do just have to go back to burqas. Dude,
yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I'm literally gonna start an OnlyFans just for my ankles and me taking naps. Like this.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I get sick of women rationalizing why they can be inconsiderate of the feelings of men who are the other half the entire species to whom they are dependent. I'm not inconsiderate of men.
Right. Yeah.
I adore men. I don't want men to control what I do with my life.
Yeah.
You know, what I choose to wear is one of my very basic freedoms.
Mm-hmm. I think what people miss out on is the fact that it's not necessarily about like there's one prescribed gender role, right? I think we want to get back to a place where it's traditional, where we have the man leading the family, leading the wife, right? Because that's biblically how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the man leading the wife, and then thus the family. He is the governor, he is the head of the household. Mm-hmm. So you have to lead. You wouldn't, and like, not to get all biblical, but totally to get all biblical. But you know, the man is the head, and his wife is the body. That's literally how it's described in the Bible. So if you are connected to the body, you wouldn't be heading the body into destructive or abusive things, right? Then you're destroying yourself. You're destroying your relationship, because you guys are all one, because two become one flesh. So if you're gonna dunk on women and, you know, not celebrate, I mean, women's femininity has been celebrated since the ancient times. You know, their curves, their, you know, everything. Like, we wore busticakas in the 1700s, right? Like the bustiers with the boobs popping out and like the big, you know what I mean? Like, this is nothing new. Our boobs, our curves are nothing new. So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you genuinely want women to cover up, like you're gonna find you one woman, but that's just not that's not what reality is. Taking it back to gender roles though, like what people don't realize is like they don't consider reality. Like people want to all of a sudden go back, and I get it because we went from leftists, radical feminists, screaming at the top of their lungs like, yeah, toxic masculinity and all these things. Like they really exploited this entire thing, truth be told. But now we want to get so far away from that we're going to the extreme of a spectrum where it's like we have to all fit into this cookie cutter trad wife, trad, whatever lifestyle, where it's like that's not the reality. Gender roles can be what's the word? Like they can be tailored depending on your lifestyle. Like for me, am I gonna be a trad wife? Like, I probably have to find a partner who's going to be understanding, but we're working together, right? And I don't know who he's going to be, but we're going to have to probably work together where, I probably have to devote time in this pocket. He has to devote time in this pocket, but ultimately we'll be working together. And I think also people don't consider that people have seasons in how they operate as a couple. Like, there might be a wife who is going through a season of school, right? Or she's going through a season of a career. And that means that the other half has to like work with her. Like, do people don't consider these things when they're putting us in cookie cutter boxes and scenarios, but that's what reality is, right? So to answer this dude's question, like, no, we're not going to cover up our boobies. Like we're not going to cover up our butts. Like, that
I deserve to celebrate my gender,
and we're not going to be hoes as well, right?
I'm going to celebrate my gender. I'm not going to hide my gender.
Right.
Is that okay? I was born female. God gave me this. I'm going to celebrate it. If you have a problem with lust,
right, that's on you, buddy.
Yeah, but you should also be able to appreciate God's beauty that God created
100%
without feeling guilty. It's okay to appreciate a beautiful woman, just like it's okay for me to appreciate a very handsome man.
Right.
Now, I don't ask my man to dress like a monk so that, I don't ask all you men to dress like monks so that I'm not attracted to your bodies because I can't see them under the giant monk garb. There was a monk at the thing I spoke at last week. I was like, that is a really
cool.
Baggy outfit.
Oh,
that's not sexy.
Right.
I'm like, I don't ask men to do that so that I don't lust after them. I appreciate the good looks of men without lust, and I think that men should be able to do the same for women.
Right.
And no, we are not feminist man haters. I saw one of the comments saying that. I very much appreciate men and manliness, and I want to be a submissive wife.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, like, that's what that resentment for women that some men have, like, you really ought to self-reflect on maybe some prior experiences that maybe you've had, or maybe some, like, there's some deep-rooted stuff. Like, it's not our responsibility to deal with some of your insecurities. Like, some of that is insecurity. And that's all I'm going to say on that. I mean, that's truly what it is. It is resentment for women. And I think we 100% can, retract back to gender roles, but we have to understand first that men are the leaders, and you have to do this first. You have to lead us, but that doesn't come with disrespect.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. So back to the Tucker Carlson thing. Because, some of his comments.
Have to duke it out. Sorry.
His comments were about women. It led to us discussing that, which I'm fine. I'm fine with men saying that a woman looks yummy. I'm not offended by Tucker saying that. I think it's fine for people to appreciate the other gender. Yeah. I'm not offended by that. A lot of conservatives and liberals are.
True story.
But I see humans as human in our nature. Like let's not hide that we find the other gender attractive. Okay. Right. So I'm 0% offended by what Tucker said. Yeah. I laughed hysterically. Thank you, Tucker, for brightening my day. With that being said, Megyn Kelly has a take on this. She's gone independent. It's better in the independent world, let me tell you. She's killing it. And she is weighing in on these leaks about Tucker. She feels like Fox planted these leaks to try to destroy Tucker's rep so that Fox could recover its ratings, just like they did with O'Reilly. We're like, well, He's a sexual assaulter. That's why we had to get rid of him. And everyone's like, we loved O'Reilly, but I guess Fox had to do what they did. So we'll keep watching Fox. They want to do the same with Tucker now. Let's do these leaks, except they got no, if this is all they have on Tucker, come on.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, so she talks about how devastating Fox's ratings are right now. And that's why they're having to do this negative PR on Tucker. Here's what she said.
It's off a cliff at 8 p.m. They have left in droves, and then they don't recover. They are not coming back for Hannity. They're not coming back for Ingram. They're not coming back for Gutfeld. It is a devastating event from 8 p.m. forward now on Fox News. They lost in both the demo and the overall to MSNBC. The only reason they're not losing every night to CNN is because they have 2 viewers.
Yeah, so it's very bad ratings for Fox right now, which is completely expected. Tucker was such a hit, and he shone light on things that nobody else would shine light on.
Yeah.
And I knew it was only a matter of time. Tucker's leaving Fox because Fox is not going to be okay with this. The people who want shadows instead of light shown are not okay with this.
Right.
They're going to sue Fox to take Tucker down. Or Fox is going to take him down themselves. I saw it coming. And but look at the free market, guys. We're still in a free market America where Americans have the choice to turn off their TV, and that's what's happening with Fox.
Right. 100%. And hey, we vote with our dollar and we vote with our attention. And Tucker was really the only reason why people ever watch.
I had so many comments saying, yeah, he's the only reason I watch.
Yeah.
And when I left Fox Corp, people said, what about Tucker? That was everyone, they wouldn't name any other names. They'd just say, what about Tucker?
What about Tucker?
And I said, I bet Tucker's duking it out with his bosses the same way I used to, where he's like, I'm going to cover this. And the bosses are like, no, you're not. And he's like, yes, I am. So I think they had a lot of tension and it finally fell out.
Yeah.
And he's going to eventually resurface and do his own show somewhere, I'm sure, and it's going to be a smash hit, and he's going to make more money than he made at Fox. I would guarantee that. And he posted that one video on Twitter after going independent. It has 80 million views. Absolutely obliterates any Fox rating.
Yeah.
His one Twitter video.
Yeah.
That's going to continue. Oh, is it official? JJ just said he's partnering with Elon Musk.
Cool.
I mean, Elon, seeing how big the Twitter ratings were with Tucker, he's going to want to, shake out a deal with him. Like, let's do this on the regular. Can you do a little broadcast from Twitter? Yeah.
Twitter is like, honestly, like people complain about little things or that. Twitter is honestly like a beacon of free speech now. Like many people. It really
is.
And you know what I love? I love that both sides are on it. I love that.
Yeah,
like,
I need everyone on there. That was the issue with True Social.
Yeah.
Only Trump voters were on there. There was no
nuance.
Nobody else,
discourse.
And so, so it was nice in the heat of Twitter censorship. It was refreshing to get True Social, but then it was like an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Trump's not happy with Elon Musk coming and freeing Twitter because it kind of removes the purpose of True Social. I still post on True Social every day.
Yeah.
I post everywhere, but so I love the idea of True Social freedom, but to have everyone on a free platform is really great.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, guys, let me check the comments section. What is your take? You forgot about True Social. That women dress to be looked at.
Okay.
So I've had, you know what? I dress for what makes me happy, but looking good makes me happy. Let me just say something. People on the left and right have criticized the way I dress very strongly. When I was NBC Minneapolis, I came home from vacation. My bikini had just made the gossip sites, and one of the main anchor women sat me down. She said, I'm so ashamed at you. Everything we as women have worked towards. What are you doing to it? I said,
because I'm
helping women's freedom even more. I was so confused.
Yeah.
So me in a bikini to this leftist woman was reversing the progress of women. Because through her lens, I wore a bikini on the beach to get myself ahead in my career, which is how women had to do it in the olden days.
Right.
And I said, no. This bikini is actually going to hurt my career progress, unfortunately, because women are not as free as we hope, you leftist. To wear a bikini now hurts your career. And so I am taking a stand against that and saying, I'm proving that I still have brains and body.
Right.
And I'm going to continue to do that.
I
I don't need to cover my body to prove I have brains. I'm going
Right.
to continue to take that stand until enough Americans wake up. It's a silly argument, but there's a shocking number of Americans who don't understand that you can have brains and body. And so then she finally got it. But it's just very interesting to me to be criticized by liberals and conservatives.
I know.
For my body.
It's wild to me. This is genuinely a wild time right now. And here's the thing. I don't know about all these other free-willed people like you and I, but I'm going to keep dressing. I'm going to keep doing whatever I do. Like, what do you want me to do? Get a mass? What is it called?
Mastectomy?
Yeah. You want me to get rid of my boobies? You know, like, what do you want?
Dude, I keep criticizing and I love the concept of a lot of conservative values, but
Me too.
the ones that are anti-freedom, I am not a fan of. And the hypocrisy of some, like
Yeah, 100%.
People would call me radical right-wing because I'm so pro-freedom, way more pro-freedom than any conservative. And when conservatives talk about, they hate these people who cross-dress, yet they hate me for dressing for my gender.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, do I have to cover up that this exists? Like, you hypocrite.
Yeah, seriously, it's hypocritical. It really is. It's seriously hypocritical.
Anyway, beyond that, if you could, my lovely conservatives, if you could stick to freedom.
Yeah.
Let's fight for freedom. We need that badly in America.
Let's unite.
Okay, with that being said, Ed Sheeran was under trial. Big court case for smash hit performing artist Ed Sheeran. He was
copyright.
It was, yeah. So what happened is the co-author of Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On," dun, 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 that song, the co-writer of that song, apparently his daughter sued Ed Sheeran for copyright for Ed Sheeran's song, which is "Darling, I Will Be Loving You Till We're 70." That song. So apparently that song sounds similar to "Let's Get It On." And so
I could see that.
Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70. But it's the same chord progression. And so she said, this is copyright. So it went to federal court where no cameras are allowed. So this is, again, a sketch artist court case. And you'll see Newsmax covered it this morning. Ed ended up winning the case. Here it is.
But he did take the stand, and he took his guitar with him. He even played a few different riffs on the song in question for the jury. You can see in the sketches here. I'm just imagining the sketch artist like, what? Okay, well, we'll try this one out. But the first time in recent memory that someone played guitar on the stand in federal court of his caliber of musical talent, or at all. But Sheeran had previously said he might even quit music altogether if he were convicted to be copying Marvin Gaye's song. He was found that did not happen, and he spoke outside the courthouse after the verdict. Here's that.
I'm obviously very happy with the outcome of the case, and it looks like I'm not having to retire from my day job after all. But at the same time, I'm unbelievably frustrated that baseless claims like this are allowed to go to court at all. We've spent the last 8 years talking about 2 songs with dramatically different lyrics, melodies, and 4 chords which are also different and used by songwriters every day all over the world. These chords are common building blocks which were used to create music long before Let's Get It On was written, and will be used to make music long after we are all gone.
No.
He makes a great point there. That the chords, they use the same chords, but you wouldn't, unless you're a musician who, like me with my guitar in the back behind me, who plays all these songs, you realize that so many songs have the same chords, but dramatically different melodies and lyrics.
Right.
Chords are just a loose skeleton foundational piece of a song. And for Marvin Gaye, the descendant of the writer of that song, to sue over that, she might as well sue every artist who included that chord progression, which I forgot to look at the chord progression, but it's probably C, A minor, F, G, which is so many songs. I've written multiple songs of my own, some of which came in my sleep, like completely original songs, but the same chord progression. So it's a really good thing that he won this case, because that would have set a horrible precedent for songwriters to be like, ooh, did someone else have the same chord progression? I better not. You know, it would be very suffocating and limiting to creativity to be scared of lawsuits. Again, just like with news coverage, the freedom of your creativity to flow completely freely, without fear of lawsuits. And Ed Sheeran won this, and I'm so glad he did. And he literally said he was going to quit. He was just going to quit his whole career. If he lost this, he'd throw in the towel on his whole career, because it's so suffocating to a songwriter. To be like, okay, for the rest, if I accept this control for the rest of my career, I'm controlled by the fear of, is someone going to call me a plagiarizer?
Exactly.
Which is similar reasons to why I threw in the towel with Fox, because they made the threat to fire me over truth telling. If truth is no longer allowed in certain areas, and I have to stumble through a landmine the rest of my career with Fox, of like, well, are they gonna, a minefield? Are they gonna say this is? Are they just gonna decide that this truth is a fireable offense? I was like, it's not worth it. I'm throwing in the towel on my corporate news career. And Ed Sheeran was about to do the same with creativity. I totally get it, and I love that he won that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ed Sheeran.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the AI create songs?
AI creates songs. Yes. Oh my gosh. So my boyfriend was one of the first people to show me ChatGPT, actually show me how it worked. And I was like, I wonder if you can write a song with that. And he's like, let's see. And he's like, ChatGPT, write a country song about, like, he gave it some specifics, and it literally wrote like, these lyrics were like, actually, this looks like a good song. I just need to add a melody to it. Like, this is crazy.
Wow.
And I was like, now I feel ripped off, because my creativity used to be a really special, like, otherworldly thing. And now it's just, nope, a bot can just be just as creative. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
So there's a guy on TikTok he makes lyrics, tell ChatGPT Eminem rapping about a pear on the shoulder, and uses Eminem's voice.
Wow.
Wait, JJ said ChatGPT can use Eminem's voice to create specific raps. Yeah. This is insanity.
You know what I wonder?
Let's check the comment section. What are you guys saying about this?
You know what I wonder? So Linkin Park recently came out with like lost songs with Chester Bennington, but it makes me wonder if maybe that could be an AI generated voice instead. Because what's to say, like, all these other bands now who lost their front
Wait,
singer
this
or whatever.
Is insanity.
What if they're doing that with the voice instead of it actually being a lost song?
Oh, someone said they're mad that I have a boyfriend. Yeah, we've been dating for almost 6 months. Crazy.
That is crazy. Time flies.
Yes. Yeah, so is he babysitting? Is that him in the background? No, that's JJ, that's our director and videographer.
You have to add human input into ChatGPT before it can be functional. This should tell you.
I heard that the godfather of AI was horrified at what he'd created, because he foresees a time like now when none of us really know what's true on the internet. Like, is this like
yikes.
even? I think someone was saying, someone said that Tim Pool felt that even the Tucker clips were completely fake. Like, what if someone just ChatGPT'd Tucker or, you know, AI'd, because you can make AI videos of people where it looks like they're saying things that they never said.
Ooh.
It's already so advanced.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's pretty astounding. Now, another thing we were going to talk about is CDC Director Rochelle Walensky has officially thrown in the towel. She's resigning, you guys. Rochelle Walensky resigns. New York Times. In an announcement on Friday, the head of the beleaguered, that means struggling, agency said she would step down in June. Quote, "We made this world a safer place," she said. So the end of next month, Walensky will be done. And she's saying that the only reason she's stepping down is because the pandemic's over.
Right.
And so her job was to fix the pandemic. And she feels that she's done that. But she was the subject of quite a bit of controversy.
Yeah, because she kept contradicting what she was saying.
Yeah. And and proving all the conspiracy theories right. Like people would be like, I think this is what's really going on. And then a month or two later, Walensky would be like, yep, that's correct. No, it's true. You get that stick in the arm and then you really can pass the disease to someone else. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what was that. But so it doesn't really, it's not as effective. And then each headline would be like 95% effective, 72% effective, 50% effective. 33% effective, and the beloved needle in the arm just kept going down and down.
Sorry, guys, we tried to tell you over and over.
Well, it's really not a laughing matter. I laugh, but it's actually very sad what went down with that. But she actually was very successful in getting needles in the arms of every American. So get this, we have. This is the latest update, but let me walk you guys through the numbers first before we show that. So she, in this New York Times article, bidding her adieu, it says that she got more than 670 million needles in the arms of Americans, 670 million. Now, there's only 332 million Americans, and she got 670 million. That adds up to 2 needles in each arm.
Oh.
Of every American. Now, we know that not every American got a needle. You didn't, I didn't. Okay.
No.
So neither did JJ. We're a needle-free little community in my house. So what happened is that's how many Americans got like multiple needles. Like a lot of, I have friends who got 4 needles. I'm still friends with them. It's one love. I don't agree with the needle situation, but you get all the needles that your heart desires. That's freedom. So, you know, a lot of Americans got 4 or more needles in the arm thanks to Rochelle Walensky's push.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm sure she's going to retire with honors. But anyway, so we have, if you look at the CDC's data, 2 million children 5 and under got the needle in the arm.
2 million.
2 million. And the actual percentage of Americans who got at least 1 needle was 81%. Got at least 1. But the percentage of Americans who got 2 needles, like Rochelle Walensky told them to, was only 69%.
Oh, wow.
Which is one of the lowest worldwide. Like, you know, nations like Israel, it was like 80% got 2 needles. Only 69% of Americans were brainwashed enough. But the needle push is continuing as Rochelle Walensky leaves. There's a new needle term. They keep coming up with these. We have the term bivalent. Okay, let's bring this up. This is the number of bivalent doses. So what that means is there's multiple strains in one needle. So the number of Americans who were susceptible to this government marketing of pharmaceuticals You can see on the chart. The dark blue is where more than 25% of the population has got the latest bivalent needle, which only came out last fall, long after the big threat left. So look at Minnesotans. I tell you, I lived there for 2 years for working at NBC. They are some of the most obedient Americans.
Oh, wow.
These Minnesotans dutifully went and got the bivalent needle long after any threat passed because their government told them to. We also have Washington State, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts. I think Delaware's there. That thing off to the side is actually Washington, D.C. Those are the most obedient states getting this bivalent needle. The government tells us that every strain, the important strains of the illness are all in there. So,
oh my gosh,
you should keep getting that as well. To this day, they're pushing that on the other 75% of Minnesotans who haven't gotten it yet.
Mm-mm.
But Minnesotans, you guys and the Canadians would really get along. Very obedient people.
Yikes.
The Canadians, the rate of needles was like extremely high in Canada. They're very obedient.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I'm not speaking for all Minnesotans. Some of you guys are, think for yourselves. But I lived there for two years, and I did not belong. Okay, let's look at the comments. Let me know in the comments if you've gotten the bivalent needle.
No needle for me. Good for you, Scott Jones.
We won't know. Yeah, we might not want to bring these up on the screen because of YouTube's weirdness, but we won't know for many years if the needle increases the cases of heart issues, sadly, but not me. Yeah, you haven't. If you're a man complaining about women showing off their attributes, you can click on that one. To turn in.
Good comment, Bobby D.
You need to turn in your man card if you're concerned about women showing their attributes. 100%.
100.
That is the most beta boy insecure thing.
Yeah. And like the thing is like what we're talking about is not being hoes, right? Like I think there's a difference between like showing off our bodies and like not bodies, like we're just gonna like just put pasties on and walk around. But but we are, especially if like you diet, you work hard, you work out or whatever, like, yeah, like it's something to be proud
why
about.
do I need to hide God's creation?
Right, exactly. We're not being hoish about it though.
It shows what a civilized society we're in, that I can freely celebrate my body.
Right.
I can freely celebrate my body because we have that many real men in America protecting my freedom to do so.
Yeah.
If we didn't have freedom-loving men, if I didn't have freedom-loving real men surrounding me in this country, I wouldn't be able to freely celebrate my body.
That's right.
Just like the women in the Middle East do not have freedom-loving real men surrounding them.
Right.
They have tyrants surrounding them. And because tyranny reigns in the Middle East, women, I'm not talking about every Middle Eastern country. There's some countries that are okay, but the women there don't have the freedom to celebrate their bodies. They are controlled. And I'm glad to be a part of a free society that respects and honors and celebrates the female body. All right. So I don't respect people who want to control my individual liberty. Okay. Joel says, my household will never get the needle. Uh-oh. We got to take that off the screen. YouTube doesn't like us to talk critically of their precious needle. My household will never get the needle. I'm a retired Army, so I have a ton of needles, and I know that one was complete bull from the get-go. Some people sensed that out, and others did not. But it's a really weird situation.
Yeah.
The needle companies made a lot of money. All right. Wait, did we get another super chat, or we already showed that one? Is it up on the top?
Oh, no.
Oh, can you click on that? How does it work? You got to scroll up to it, I guess. He said, thank you for the inflation situation. Thank you for your super chat. You said, how are Harry and Lloyd? I love your work, but this is for the chickens. Here we go. Is that it? No. This, please keep up the good work. So Harry and Lloyd, the chickens are doing great. They're in my backyard right there.
They're actually looking at us.
Oh, they're watching the show.
Yeah, they're
right
watching
now.
us.
This
as we're...
is so weird because last time I did truth bombs, the chicken was outside. JJ, can you pan this camera maybe and show the chickens are literally trying to get in on the show. This happened before. And then you'll have to switch the camera angle. But you'll see the chickens have been watching the show for a while. And they're doing great. So they have laid no eggs yet. You can click my YouTube. There they are. They're literally watching through the window, you guys. My two hens, they are hens, but they are named Harry and Lloyd. That is after the ongoing joke that me and my best friend Yelena have. We always drop one-liners about, from the Dumb and Dumber movie. And so we jokingly call ourselves Harry and Lloyd, so we named the chickens that.
It looks like Ivory, Hecker, and Natalie. Didn't he like we're the chickens?
We could rename them Ivory and Natalie. Yeah, so.
Here's what we didn't show. Super chat.
Oh, let's read it. Brewmaster says Fox fired Tucker because his show appeals to a broad right-wing audience. No, we did. Yeah, I talked about that. And I think Fox wants to continue to appeal to the broad right-wing audience. That's what they've been doing since their inception. But now they've received so much pressure for doing that the pressure is working. As far as the lawsuits, Fox doesn't like lawsuits. And who knows the behind-the-scenes deals, like I said, with the government. We don't know if there's a behind-the-scenes deal. Last summer, emails were leaked showing a behind-the-scenes deal between the White House and Facebook and Twitter to censor. So we don't know if the news corporations have a similar behind-the-scenes deal. So who knows? Babes and birds, that's us. Yeah, so there's my lovely chickens. It's already been an hour, you guys. What the heck? That flew by. I just want to, I already teased these last two things, so I'm going to shout them out real quick. The star of Yellowstone, any Yellowstone people in my audience? Star of Yellowstone has officially, Kevin Costner, his wife filed for divorce. They've been married for 18 years.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah, Christine Baumgartner is his wife. I'm not familiar with her, but apparently sources are saying that the success of his show has hurt, it's weighed heavy on their relationship. I don't know if it's the long working hours that she's like, okay, hopefully like with movies, it's like there's a time limit on all this production. The movie's done and then you get back to your life. Well, with this TV show, it just goes on and on. She's like, do I ever get my husband back? Not to mention all the attention he's getting from a smash hit show. Does that make her feel insecure? So my take on this is that, it really could be her insecurity, because the reason I feel that way is the same week that headline came out, David Arquette, the ex-husband of Courtney Cox from Friends, came out on the radio talking about the fact that her successful show led to their divorce. So the smash hit success of the show Friends in the 90s caused Courtney Cox to lose her husband. Why? Because he felt inferior of her. When asked on the radio just this month, or this past month, whether Courtney Cox's smash hit success on the show Friends impacted his ego, he said yes. It made him feel inferior that his wife was getting all the attention. And so it eventually led to their divorce. So I'm wondering if the same thing is happening to Kevin Costner. It's very sad. I also read that I think they're on season 5, I think now. And the 8th episode was filmed the first week in January. They have not filmed since. Something is going down. Now, Kevin Costner is the main man in this show. If he's having a family crisis where he's losing his wife and he's like, I'm not filming anymore until I figure out what's going on. Then they have to put brakes on everything, I guess. And I wonder if that's what's happening.
Aww.
But it's a really tragic situation.
Yeah.
I just started watching it recently. My boyfriend got me into it, you guys.
I want to watch it now.
It's really good. We talked about Game of Thrones. That was a smash hit success.
Mm-hmm.
This one is. I feel like this is the next Game of Thrones. The way people talk about it.
Really? Oh,
the way
cool.
people were like, Ivory, you got to watch Game of Thrones. Like they did the same to me with Yellowstone. So I was like, fine, I'll try watching. Unlike Game of Thrones, I actually do like Yellowstone. Yeah. Now I didn't like Game of Thrones because I didn't support a show that glorified rape, incest, child abuse, beheadings, and the list goes on. Like there was a brother and sister hooking up. They were throwing small children off the side of buildings. The main queen of dragons was getting raped. All this stuff. I was like, and that I got 5 episodes. Oh, not to mention the man on man and the woman on woman sex scenes. Like I'm not interested. I'm not interested in and these weren't just like normal movie sex scenes. This was like straight up porno. And I was like, dude, I'm not interested in watching this. And it was the woman on, there was like a 15 straight minutes of 2 naked chicks hooking up. And I said, that's it. I'm not watching Game of Thrones anymore. Yeah. Like after I made it like 5 episodes. In 5 episodes, all that happened in the first season. So I haven't watched any of the rest of Game of Thrones. Because I was like, dude, I'm straight. I don't want to watch 2 naked chicks hooking up with each other. And so I think that Yellowstone is way better than Game of Thrones.
Well, I have to watch it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard the same reviews and raves.
No, Natalie likes Game of Thrones, and I have a lot of great friends who love Game of Thrones, and I tell them my story of not watching it, and they're like, "Wait, there was a lesbian sex scene for that long?" People forget what there was in the beginning.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was so much, right? Yeah. Like, there's so much that goes on with Game of Thrones. But I was telling Ivory that I'll have to catch up on Yellowstone the way I did with Game of Thrones, where I was already there was already plenty of seasons ahead, and so I just binge watched through it. So
nice.
I have to do the same.
Yeah, you'll be able to. There's a lot of Yellowstone out there. I need to watch more of it. Okay, and the final thing, we had this female rapper from the Bronx. She's at what appeared to be a boxing match. You probably saw this, and she broke out in a straight up Christian sermon. She did the most beautiful sermon when she had the chance. A televised opportunity with a big live audience. She said, let me bless these people.
Wow.
Let me cast the demons out of them.
I have not seen this.
So here it is. Here it is.
Real quick. The truth that everybody loves for me to hide, but I refuse to, is I'm not just a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx. I'm a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx that loves Jesus. And I believe it could be true that we walk into a fight. But there's some people here in this room that could be dealing with the fight of their life right now. And I didn't travel the country for no reason. I came here for you. And if you're okay with it, you would just lift up your hands. And I want to make sure that God comes through and blesses you. And asks you to find freedom, peace, redemption, and hope. Father God, I thank you for this moment. I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you that you are faithful, Lord God. And that you sent us and you placed us on assignment. So for anybody in this room that's battling depression, that's battling anxiety, that's battling suicide, the spirit of suicide, I call you out and I cast you out in the name of Jesus. I ask that there will be freedom, Lord God. Freedom. I ask that you will fill their hearts with hope. For anybody that's struggling and doesn't see a way out, Lord God, I ask that you show them that you are with them, and you will never leave them, and you will never forsake them. Lord God, fill them with your presence. Let them know that they are loved, and that you have never, ever, and you will never forget your children.
Cool.
I loved that.
That's
so
amazing. That's
beautiful.
awesome.
To bless the audience like that.
Yeah.
I know so many people. We've talked about how much anxiety, depression, suicide have increased since the pandemic. And she was there casting the spirit of suicide out of people.
It's amazing.
It's so beautiful.
It is
We
so
need
beautiful.
more of that.
That's amazing. And I love that Kimberly Guilfoyle shared it.
Yes, I took
with
it off of her.
platform.
But actually, so I found out, I was like, who is this girl? Her name is Angie Rose from the Bronx. And her TikTok is Angie Rose Music with a K.
I wonder if I followed her.
Angie Rose.
Angie Rose.
Music with a K. No, I looked at her Instagram, and you do follow her on Instagram.
Oh my gosh! And like just randomly, you know how I followed her just randomly? One of someone that I follow, I think also he's also from the Bronx. So he was just like one of my followers. I followed him back, and he was like, you know, I just love this girl. Goes to the girl's music. You know, she's a Christian before she's conservative. And I was like, well, she deserves an instant follow then.
Aww.
So I followed her like a couple weeks back. But that's interesting that is her on the screen.
Yes,
on the screen. That's amazing.
I love it. Okay, let's check the comments one more time. We ran over today. So much to talk about. That's pretty good. You said, Mr. Don said, that's pretty good. I think conservative Christians should start doing that everywhere. Fight back against leftism and Satanism because they do it. And that's the thing. Just in the past year or so, I have seen so much of like God's love poured out by so many people so publicly. And I know conservative influencers are on this trend of like highlighting Satanism. And I'm like, okay, like, why are you giving Satanism such a platform? There's so many conservative influencers who are giving Satanism such a huge platform right now, and that anything that's remotely satanic, they make it go viral. They show it everywhere and say like, oh, we're being overtaken by Satanism. Don't give the enemy undue power. How about we highlight people like this who are spreading amazing love and blessings?
Right.
So I get like shedding light on darkness so that we're aware of it, but are we overdoing that to an extent where we're actually giving Satanism a platform?
That's true.
So I love to see that, and yeah, I hope more people
love that.
spread love. With that being said, thank you, Natalie and Denise, for coming on Truth Bombs. I have linked Natalie's YouTube and Instagram down below.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So
go
much
check
fun.
it out. And have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
It's gone! But happy Cinco de Mayo.
See you guys.
Cinco de Mayo.
I'll see you guys later.